Alright guys, what is going on? Back today with a quick video. I hope it's going to be quick. What I wanted to do today is I want to run through a lot of diet myths, food myths, whatever you want to call them. Basically common misconceptions. Stay out of it, I'll give you the treats. Common misconceptions that a lot of people think are facts, and I get these questions all the time. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on each one. I'm just going to give you my opinion on it in a way that's quite easy to understand and simple. Fairly straightforward, and hopefully we can just blitz through them because we have got 10. So these are the 10 common misconceptions. You ready, Bear? Okay, so number one is that cholesterol is bad. So this has a bad rap for a long time. I get a lot of people asking me, hey Zach, can I still eat eggs? Are eggs okay on a diet? Is 2 gonna kill me? And it's like, no. I can't remember exactly where this came from, but it was basically like Chinese whispers version of like scientific data. So people misinterpreting things, associating the wrong things, and now they've realized that like cholesterol that you eat doesn't have too much of an impact on the cholesterol that your body produces. So if you're eating eggs every day, fine. The only issue with eating like way too many eggs every day is it's just like anything, you can like develop an intolerance over time. But if you're worried about that on cholesterol, don't even worry about it, guys. It's not a thing. What you want to focus on is eating the good foods that actually boost your the high density liver protein cholesterol, the HDL, which is your good. Eat a lot of those, so all your healthy fats and stuff like that, that's what you want to be about. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about cholesterol, forget about it. Number 2, that sodium is bad. Now sodium it's a weird one because yes, like high blood pressure and heart disease has been linked with like high sodium diets, but at the same time too, like high sodium is fast food, but high sodium is also pink salt. So there's a difference between the two and what you're consuming it with. Now, from an athlete's point of view and someone who trains regularly, you need sodium. If you don't have salt in your diet, you will not get a pump, you will not train effectively. It's a nightmare. So like the guys who really like cut sodium, they just kill themselves. And it's so, I've tried it before and you just get flat and stringy, it's disgusting. So what I do every single day, and if you look up like Charles Poliquin, he does this as well, he has half a teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt or another salt with minerals in it because you're getting the minerals as well. You're not just having that table salt and just drinking that and just diluting it. That'll kill you probably. But this like pink salt or any, I'm forgetting the other ones. Basically colored salt is what you want because it has the extra minerals in there too. It's not just straight sodium chloride with some bleach. Because that's pretty delicious. So if you have that every day, as athletes, you are sweating it out. You're sweating out minerals. That's how you're hydrating your muscles. You're not just, if you just hydrate with water and just drink a shitload of water with no sodium, it's just gonna run through you. You need the balance of both. So that's why you need, if you're having a giant carb meal with a heap of sodium in there, that's when you're gonna fill up and hydrate your muscles. So every day, guys, don't be afraid of salt. Put some pink salt on basically every meal. Even if it's sweet, salt the hell out of it. No, you don't have to do that. But I like to just have a little bit before a pre-workout because I find that helps with pump a lot. Doing good, Bear? Nice. Now, number 3 is that carbs at night are bad. Now this, I don't even know where this came from, to be honest. I think this comes from the mentality of, if I have carbs and then I'm going to bed, I'm not using it as energy, and I'll touch on this a bit later on too. But no carbs at night is basically bullshit because it depends on your training. See, I don't have carbs at night. That's not because I'm scared of them. It's because I train in like midday. So I will have carbs pre and post workout in my meals, and then my last 2 meals don't have carbs in them because I don't really need it. So if you're training in the afternoon, you might have your breakfast with no carbs. Then you might have carbs pre and post workout, which happens to be dinner. So it doesn't really matter. And again on that too, some people find that having carbs at night, actually before bed, you get that nice insulin spike, and then you get a bit of serotonin release. You actually get more tired, and you might want to save carbs for later in the day because it's more enjoyable. So if you wanted to have like a protein ice cream before bed with a heap of berries and some cereal in there or whatever, I've done that before in the past where that was what I look forward to. So I wanted something a little bit sweet before bed, and I still got lean doing that. So it doesn't matter, guys, it just comes down to the total calories. And if you want to partition your carbs later in the day for whatever reason you like, then definitely do so. And as well, if you're training like first thing in the morning, for example, definitely carbs at night is perfect. You want to sleep on a bed of carbs. Literally get the bag of rice, tip it all over your bed and sleep in the whole thing. Your body will absorb a lot of that. Somebody please do this. If you sleep on those carbs, So you have a like heap of rice with dinner and you're sleeping on that, that's replenishing muscle glycogen overnight. So then when you wake up, you can train fasted, you'll still get a great pump, great workout because you're having carbs at night. So you see, it's not just turning to fat. That's a bad myth. Now, number 4, speaking of carbs, is that carbs make you fat. Now, for some reason, the mainstream, like just normal people just think this. They think carbs make you fat because carbs turn to sugar. It's like, yes, of course carbs turn to sugar. That's the way your body processes them. Your body can't just take a carb and put it into your bloodstream as a low GI carb. It's got to break it down into sugars. So everything is broken down into sugars like that. So don't think carbs, sugar, terrible. Like I tend to stay away from sugars. I get natural sugars in through fruits and berries and stuff, but I won't add any processed sugars. It's pointless. In my opinion, that's empty calories. It's pointless. But the misconception here is that carbs make you fat. It's calories that make you fat. So on my last bulk, so this most recent bulk, my carbs were so high, and I still put on a bit of body fat, but I put on the same amount of body fat when my carbs were super low the last time. My fats were like 150. I did a really high fat, low carb bulk, still put on body fat with low carbs. So that's why people thinking that carbs make you fat. No, calories do it. In excess of calories make you fat. Doesn't matter where you get it from, broccoli, celery, carbs, fats, whatever it is, that will make you fat. Number 5 is that you can only digest a certain amount of protein and then the rest is pointless and wasted. Now, I think Lane Norton and Jeff Nippert have covered this extensively. I think Lane's done a whole few video series on it. So if you guys want to learn more about that, definitely go check those guys out. They explain it very well, very sciencey. But essentially, the issue here is that people think, okay, this meal's 50 grams of protein. Is that too much? Is that pointless? It's like, it depends on your meal frequency. It depends when you're going to be able to have, how many meals a day can you have? So if you can only have a few meals a day, you have no choice. You're going to have to get about 60 grams of protein in a meal. And the thing is too, is that 20 to 40 grams of protein was shown to be the optimal amount to boost protein synthesis. So that's where that figure comes from, is that 30 is because it hit a 20 to 40 gram of being optimal. So just because you're above optimal doesn't mean you're wasting it. Your body's going to break it down. It's going to digest it over time. It doesn't have a time limit. Your body doesn't set its stopwatch as soon as you hit some protein and think, we need to get this 30 grams, otherwise we're going to waste the rest. It will do it over time. So don't freak out, guys. If you can there's guys who only have 2 meals a day and they're still fine. You're not just wasting it. So don't think too much protein is terrible. If you're very big, if you have a lot of muscle, you're training really hard, there's a lot of other factors that contribute to where you need higher protein diets. If you're dieting, you need a high protein diet. So don't think protein is bad. If you have quite high protein, maybe 250 grams, that's quite high. I reckon that's good for cutting because you're not going to lose much muscle mass. And again, protein it has a very thermogenic effect. You burn 30% of it just by digesting it, as opposed to 5% of carbs. So protein is good. It's not going to give you kidney disease. Just don't go eating stupid amounts, 400 or 500 grams a day. No point. But don't think you're going to die if you have a little bit extra. Number 6, brown rice is better than white rice. Now this comes from the fact that brown rice is low GI, meaning it doesn't have as quick of a response in blood sugar as white rice. But the thing here is, if you like brown rice better, just have brown rice. It doesn't really matter. In all my meal plans, if it says brown rice, I just tell people if you want to have white, literally just replace it with the same quantity. It doesn't matter. I found with me, white rice is less inflammatory. I don't bloat as much with it, and it's much more enjoyable. It tastes so much better. So I always have white rice. Even if it does boost your insulin a lot quicker, you're not eating just a bowl of white rice by itself. That's the thing, guys. You can't think of GI, the glycemic index is as one food. That's how quick that food, the impact that food has on your blood sugar. But you're never eating just that one food. Who sits down with a bowl of potatoes and just eats white potato? Some weirdo, I'm sure. But I don't. So you always have a meal. You have protein, bit of fat, and you'll have your carb source. So as soon as you hit some fats in there, and that slows the digestion right down. So you'll have white rice, mix it with some fats, there you go, it's lower GI. So that's the meal is lower GI. Yeah, the white rice is high GI, but your meal is lower GI. See that? So it doesn't really make too much difference. A lot of people say you lose the nutrients in brown rice too. It's if you're eating brown rice for nutrients, get a vitamin or eat some vegetables. Don't think I'm getting all my nutrients through rice. It's a plant. It's a grain. Why would you do that? It's like eating cardboard to suck out all the nutrients in that. Use it for what it is. It's a fuel source. It's a really good fuel source. So if you want to eat white rice, it tastes 10 times better in my opinion. do that. Unfortunately, with all my meal plans, the meals that are loaded into there, like my chicken and rice, unfortunately the staple was brown rice. So I'm working to get all of these changed, and I'm slowly changing them over time just to avoid confusion. So to the current clients out there, if you see brown rice on your meal plan, just switch it over to white. It doesn't really matter, unless you like it. What's next? Diet sodas are bad, and that you're better off drinking actual sugar or eating actual sugar than the fake sugar and artificial sweeteners. Now, I think the grey area here is that there's some literature and some people that say it is bad and some people that say it's absolutely fine. So I think where this comes from is that there's actually genetic variation, there's genetic differences in people. So some people might get an insulin response from a fake sugar with 0 calories. Some people won't. So that's why you can't just tell people whether it's good or bad. You just have to try it. For me, I think it is a lifesaver. I think like diet sodas and artificial sweeteners, I use stevia a lot though. I think that is an absolute lifesaver because it can let you cook without adding the calories and the sugars. And it can also, if you just want to sit down and have a nice drink, you don't have to just think, I'm having water now and I can't wait till I can have a good Coke. You can just enjoy Coke Zero. Don't freak out. For me, it's actually a lot. Hey! Bet, I'm trying to film. Do you have any respect? There's nothing out there. Shut up. Just eat this. Where was I? Oh, and also, yeah, sugar-free jelly. Like, that's another thing. That's awesome to have in a dieting phase. So these things can be used as like hacks and to help you get through it. And I don't think it's bad, to be honest. Unless you guys are drinking, I think 60 liters of diet soda per day was the dose that would be harmful for you. And nobody's going to be doing that. Have a couple cans. I think you'll be okay. The only thing is you've got to make sure that having those sweet drinks isn't making you hungry. So sometimes for me, they'll fill me up and I'll feel satiated. Other times that sweetness triggers something and I want to eat food. So just see how you go, guys. Don't be scared of it. It's definitely 10 times better than drinking a full sugar drink. I think that's just what like fat people like to say and unhealthy people like to say just so they can drink full sugar Coke.
Hey man, do you know it's actually healthier to have full sugar drinks? I'm basically better than you.
They say, yeah, you're better off drinking the real thing. It's like, no, you're not though. You're just not. Number 8, you can't drink alcohol in a diet. Now, I've made a whole video on alcohol and fitness. I might make another one, but I'm gonna try to sum it up basically in this little segment here. So the fact that you can't drink alcohol in a diet, that is a myth because alcohol has calories. Now, what I'd suggest ways of controlling this. So there's things you can do in the day, what you drink, and then what you do later. Now, that's basically what you can control here. Now, think about your calorie deficit. That's what you want to stay in the whole day. If you drink alcohol, that's consuming calories because every gram of alcohol has about 7 calories in it. So you've got to take into account the calories from pure alcohol. So even if you just drink a bottle of vodka, you're going to get like 400, 600 calories maybe in that, I don't know. But I know if I've added it up before, if I have like a really, really big night and get absolutely blindy, I'm probably having around 600 to 700 calories, I think, of just like the alcohol when you're having, vodka, lime, and sodas, sugar-free this, sugar-free that. But either way, there's calories you're getting in. So on that day, you're gonna need to take some out. Take some out from your fats, take some out from your carbs, give yourself 600 calories of buffer. And so what I do is just have high protein veg. That's like my meals for the day when I know I'm going out drinking that night. Now, another thing I do too is before I go out drinking, I'll have like a double scoop shake. So I have about 60 grams of protein in a smoothie because then say I'm going out for dinner as well. This is also a thing too. Or you could have a big chicken breast because when you're going out for dinner, you're probably not gonna hit your protein without going over your calories. So I make sure I've got more than enough protein before I leave the house. Then whatever you eat later is just a bonus. So for example, last time I went out, I met the boys and we had like a big Chinese dinner. So before I left the house, I basically hit my protein because I know that I'm not gonna eat shit food there trying to get my protein intake. Does that make sense? So then when I got there, I just picked the bits and it was like extra calories. So maybe I ate 300 calories worth of food as opposed to 800 trying to get my protein in. You know what I mean? Without all the extra fats. So have a shake before you leave the house. Make sure you're eating enough protein that day. Pull some carbs, pull some fats. Now think about what you're gonna drink. So it's easy to plan it out when you're sober and in the right state of mind. You'll be like, yeah, I'm not gonna have anything bad. And then when the night comes, you're just smashing vodka, Red Bulls and whatever gets you going because it's sweet and tastes good. But stick to it. So have a plan and stick to it. When I go out, if I'm having pre-drinks, I'll have sugar-free UDLs just to sip on, or I'll have vodka, Coke Zero, vodka, lime, and soda. That's also a staple, but not like, obviously I'm talking soda water, guys. That's just like your club soda, not actually sweet. So don't have any sugar with your alcohol. Try not to have any beers. Don't have any wasted calories. So alcohol is already a wasted calorie. You're not getting anything out of it. You may as well not overload it with sugars as well. And another thing too on the alcohol is that the way that it works in your body prioritizes burning that off and getting it out because it is like a toxin. So you have to keep that in mind too. So whatever you consume that night, your body's going to want to store it as fat pretty much. So this is the last point, is don't eat shit when you finish. The amount of times I've had the greasiest kebabs, full on McDonald's, 10 Happy Meals, and I've never done that, that'd be sick. But McDonald's feed after a night out, you definitely want it, but if you have that rule in your head that you're not going to, trust me, you won't do it. Wake up the next morning, hydrate that night, you'll be okay. It's not gonna impact your fat loss a crazy amount. You can still do it. And that's me talking, getting absolutely blind. I mean, if you have a couple of drinks, you're fine. Just pull out a few calories and don't go crazy. But like, I'm addressing because I'm sure a lot of you guys watching this, you're young, you're going out, you actually wanna have a good crack every now and then. So that's kind of what you can do. I wouldn't recommend it, it's not healthy, but it is what it is. Now, number 9, this is gonna ruffle some feathers. This is gonna really ruffle some hairs on Bear's neck. It's about intermittent fasting. Now, there's so much I've seen on intermittent fasting where like people say it's God's gift, it is insane, you don't even need to be in a calorie deficit or adjust calories, you just need to restrict your eating window. Now, I'm gonna tell you my opinion. If you guys don't want to, if you want to take it, take it. If you want to write in the comments and rebuttal, I really don't care. This is just my opinion, okay? The benefits from fasting are only to partition your calories into smaller eating window. Now, people buy into this thinking it's so superior because it's the mentality of, if I have carbs at night, that will make me fat, as opposed to if I don't eat in the day, I'll be burning fat all day. That's what they're kind of thinking. So what you have to know before we delve into this is that your body, if you're eating the same amount of calories, your body's gonna burn a certain amount of calories. You're gonna eat a certain amount. Whether you do that at whatever time of the day, it doesn't matter. You're not changing the physics of what's going on here. You're still burning a certain amount, you're still consuming a certain amount. Whether you do that all in 1 hour, all throughout the day, I think it's better throughout the day because you'll digest a little bit better instead of having one giant meal. But the pros of this is that you get to have a couple of big meals and it feels like you're gorging yourself. That's really the only pro. I mean, when I was on 1,300 calories, that's hard to try to split that over 5 meals because they're poverty meals. As opposed to you skip breakfast, you wait, you have some coffee, you think about your next meal, and then you've got 2 big meals of 700 each. So that's the benefit I see in intermittent fasting. I don't think you get these crazy boosts in growth hormone and these awesome hormonal benefits that'll skyrocket you and you'll be burning fat like crazy. No, I really don't believe that, guys. For you to visibly notice the benefits from that, it's just not a thing. You might get 2% increase. This is the thing, is that like people will see that like in the literature it says, yep, it's more beneficial. It's like, even if it's only this much more beneficial, you'll have guys out there that go, okay, and tell you it's this much more beneficial. It's the game changer. That's what I don't like. So my battery just died. Essentially, I'm not going to tell you that it's going to be this insane amount of benefit. Intermittent fasting, here's my advice. Intermittent fasting is good if it is good for you, okay? So try it out, see how it fits your schedule. If you're just hungry all day, can't stop thinking about food, I don't think it's for you, because the benefits you'll get from it are so small in comparison to what it's doing to you, it's driving you nuts. But if you're the type of person that can wake up, have a coffee, wait, and then you don't even care about food, and then like come 2 o'clock, you can eat a bunch, that's awesome. I mean, do that, it'll feel like you're not dieting at all. But for example, my routine right now, I wake up, I do fasted cardio. I have a brutal cardio session for an hour, and then I train 4 hours later. There's no way in hell I can wake up, do the cardio, not eat anything, maybe have a quick pre-workout meal, then train, or even just train. I mean, I'd be dead. So that doesn't fit my schedule whatsoever. So there's no way I'd even think about doing that. So weigh it up, guys, see if it fits in with your schedule. If it doesn't, don't worry about it. Trust me, you need to be in a calorie deficit. You can't, that's the most important thing, is a calorie deficit. Not the timing, it just doesn't matter. For the average person, great. It repairs cells, your body doesn't always want to be eating. It's actually really good for you. But in terms of fat loss in your body, I don't think so. Number 10 is finishing with the anabolic window. So if you look behind me, anabolic window, it's nice and big, it's aesthetic. No, enough anabolic window jokes, I've made like 1 million. But the thing is, people freak out and they think, I've only got this certain amount of time to consume my protein, my carbs. There's a difference between an anabolic window and then just nutrient timing. I mean, if you finish a workout up, in that hour following that, your body's pretty prone to taking in carbs because you're quite depleted. So what you'll have is a high protein meal, a high carb meal, because it's ideal, it's optimal. Your body's gonna take it in a lot better. With that being said, if you don't have that, and that night you eat the carbs and protein, what do you think is gonna happen when you go to bed? Your body's just gonna disregard it and just sweep it? No, it's still gonna take it in. But it's just, you're dealing with like what's optimal. So sometimes what's optimal doesn't work out with your schedule, don't worry about it. If you're doing a training session, then you've got to do cardio straight after, and you're worried about getting a shake in before that, don't worry about it. Do whatever. If you feel sick, don't drink a shake, drink it after. It's not, what's more important is your total calories within the 24-hour window and your total macros. As long as you meet those, fine. That's the main thing. People are so concerned about a post-workout anabolic window, that's not gonna make the muscle gain. What's important is the amount you're getting in that day and if you're meeting that. So guys, what I'm trying to say is, if you can be bothered with a good post-workout meal, great, do it. But if it's not be all and end all. What's important is the total day. Everyone's gonna try to find like one little thing to nitpick at and say that's gonna be it. It's anabolic window, it's intermittent fasting, it's keto, people always like to do that. But what's more important, guys, is the bigger picture. Okay, so your total daily calories, your schedule, what's right for you, what you can stick to over time. Now, I think that basically wraps it up. So I hope that wasn't too long. My battery already died, the mic's probably dead. But that is it for me, guys. I do hope you enjoyed this video. Let me give Bear one last treat. But that is it from us, guys. So if you did enjoy this, hit the like button, comment something, give me something, maybe a bit of your experience or anything. I read all the comments, and subscribe as well, because why not? Anyway, that is it for me, guys. You know what to do. Stay massive.
All these sexy jeans in my section, and slide into your DMs in the PM and the AM. Then I slide into your feelings when you see just what I'm saying.